Joining us now is the author and director of investigations and research for Judicial Watch, Chris Farrell. Welcome back to Victory News, Chris.
Great to be with you. Thanks.
All right. North Carolinians will decide if non-citizens should be allowed to vote in state elections. Meanwhile, in Arizona, voters are being warned of long lines. Polls and Maricopa County election officials say it's going to take 10 to 13 days to completely tabulate all of the ballots. Chris, how could they not improve the voting process in the very place that the controversy happened last time in Arizona?
And they had 4 years to figure it out, and somehow they still failed. So this is more of an IQ test, I think, for the people of Arizona. How in the world could you possibly support these public officials who continue, despite lawsuits, federal investigations, state investigations, the state legislature got involved. Look, this is probably one of the most contentiously battled places for voting, and they still can't get it right. It's there's really no excuse. There's none.
The new governor, if my memory's right, wasn't she the Secretary of State in charge of elections?
Yes, she was, yeah.
You'd think as governor she'd fix it. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah. Judicial Watch.
Unless they enjoy the ambiguity of it all.
Well,
right?
There's that. You filed a lawsuit against the DOJ for messages among top leaders of the FBI referencing social media posts of Special Agent Jeffrey Veltri. Tell us what you're looking for, Chris.
So Veltri wanted to be promoted to be head of the Miami office of the FBI. The problem was, on his social media, he had all this vitriolic, hate-filled ranting and raving against Trump. And so his bosses at the FBI, the loathsome Christopher Wray and others, said, hey, you better smarten up there, guy. How in the world do you think you could be promoted to be head of the FBI office in Miami, which has responsibility for where the president lives in Palm Beach, when you have all this hate language directed at the former president? So they went back and they scrubbed his social media to make him look like he's a Boy Scout. And now this same guy is supposedly in charge of the investigation, the assassination attempt on Trump, the second one. So, you know, I don't think Veltri, frankly, is smart enough to be head of the FBI office in Miami, because what sort of person in that position would make all these public posts? It's crazy. It's reckless.
All right. Well, let's talk about hate speech for a second. Hillary Clinton showed up on CNN for her book tour to continue the Hitler rant against Donald Trump and his Madison Square Garden rally this weekend, explaining it's not just a rally for his supporters. Here she is.
Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled.
So what are the Democrats pushing the Trump-Hitler narrative so hard tell us about this election? Where are we?
Because they've got nothing left in the tank. They are out of gas. They're done. The economy's in the tank. Inflation's out of control. National security's a wreck. They've presided over the destruction of the country. And so when you have nothing else left to talk about your ideas, your proposals, your future, you have to resort to name-calling. And this is the lowest, slimiest, most intellectually dishonest attempt to smear the president.
And will it increase in the next few days, you think?
Guaranteed. And they're actually advocating violence by doing this. Well, so if there's another assassination attempt, you know why.
Okay. Chris Farrell, thank you so much. God forbid, we'll pray against that, and we'll see you in just a moment. Once again, let's talk with the Director of Investigations and Research for Judicial Watch, Chris Farrell. Chris, you just heard how we're in a battle for our children physically and spiritually. I want you to listen to Joe Biden's Assistant Secretary of Health spout the lie that stopping a child's puberty is actually life-saving.
Gender-affirming care is life-saving, medically necessary, age-appropriate, and a critical tool for healthcare providers. As a pediatrician, when it comes to making sure kids are healthy and happy, I know how important care that affirmed someone's true identity can be.
So, Chris, what would have happened just a few years ago if you took your daughter to the doctor and they said she's a boy? We're going to cut off her breast. We're going to stop puberty. What would have happened? What's happened to our country?
Well, it's clearly child abuse. I want to congratulate Fior for that excellent segment. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her work. But look, this is objectively disordered behavior. This is a psychological problem. It's an emotional problem that's being treated and applauded as some sort of success story. This is like telling somebody who has an eating disorder, hey, good luck with your diet, or handing an alcoholic a bottle of vodka and telling him good luck. This is objectively disordered behavior that requires treatment and therapy, and not being advocated and advanced as some sort of heroic crusade. It is a radical fringe ideology that really needs treatment and medical help. This idea that this gender-affirming care is nonsense. And the faster we kind of snap out of this delusional mind virus that we're in, the better we'll be off as a country.
It's a lie. We've believed a lie. So let's talk more about that. Political commentator Guy Benson criticized Politico and CBS News for running a derogatory story against Donald Trump and a deceased war veteran from one anonymous source. Here it is.
That source in that Atlantic story is a single anonymous person. And people who were in the room for that at the time are on the record denying it entirely, categorically. The family of the slain soldier has come out rejecting it and backing former President Trump.
Chris, are you astonished to see a major article and a lead story on CBS News built on one lone anonymous source?
No, they do it all the time. This is routine. They don't care what the facts are. They've got an ideological objective, and they will say or do anything to accomplish it. So sadly, we've been fed on a steady diet of this for the past at least 4 years, longer than that. They have no qualms whatsoever. Look at all the lies around, whether it's Russia hoax with President Trump, or the hysteria and the lies put on the American public over COVID. It is a drumbeat of misdirection and lies.
All right, your Judicial Watch, you plan on monitoring Wisconsin's polls this election. Tell us why you're focusing on potential voter fraud this November and in Wisconsin.
We've successfully removed the false and inaccurate enrollment of 4 million people off voter rolls in this country. And we've done that under the law in courts. And so we've removed these false voter registrations. And in the case of Wisconsin, we're sending observers there because it's been a source, as you well know, of lots of mischief in the last election. So we're going to put eyes on what's going on there.
That's good. We need eyes on everything all across the country. You be eyes. Everybody be eyes. Judicialwatch.org to stay up with Chris and Judicial Watch. Great to see you today. Thank you for the information you always bring us.
Thank you.